Hello, 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 and welcome to another one line of code. I am who I am. I am one lion. And today is Wednesday. It is the middle of the week for a lot of us that do Monday through Friday type jobs. I'm getting stuff prepared, as opposed to post-paired. Here is that. Okay, so we may as well get right to it then, shall we? We are currently working on a stream project called the Financial Management Tracker. It is intended to be used for manually tracking your finances. We had a pretty good starting to it. We got through all of the core functionality. I kept saying feature complete, but I meant the core functionality is complete. We still have quite a few features that I would like to see added to it, as well as cleanup, writing tests, a whole bunch of fun stuff that we can do with this project. So for now, we've been working on a calculator, and of course, because when I sleep, I dream in code, I came up with some ways to do calculator type stuff. Yeah, instead of using this decimal place thing. Okay, so we're gonna try this out. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna enjoy it. I guess I can make this thing screen wide because we're gonna be writing code and not doing CSS. Must have feature, order coffee. Absolutely. Yes, you must be able to order coffee from the app. And hello, Dickasoft. I hope you're having a fantastic day, week, month, or even your year. Because, I'll be there for you. What? Anyway. The dancing. Okay. So, what I was doing when you type a number or click on a number button, but this will also handle keyboard entry eventually, is I have been accumulating the numbers by adding the number that you typed times. Oh, right. First, we're saying if we are not adding a decimal, then we are going to multiply our current number times 10, so that the next number that we typed, which is going to be in the ones place, if we are not using the decimal, will be added to that. Otherwise, if the decimal point is active, then we don't multiply by anything because we're adding to the end of the number. So we just add the number times 10 to the negative number of decimal places that we are. However, I thought it might be more prudent, because I wanted to use the word prudent, to have the whole number and the decimal number as two separate numbers. So what I mean by that is the number output is actually going to be a read-only property, and that number output is going to be gotted by combining it's going to be a decimal, right? By combining, I wasn't going to do it like this. Yes, I was. We need two new variables, private int whole number, private int decimal part. And so we will combine whole number and decimal part, and we will do a decimal dot parse, which we know will work because we We're making sure that both of these are numbers. I don't know, should I make these longs now? I may as well make them longs. Oops. Nobody saw this. I was using the right naming conventions. Oh my goodness, except that I can't push the right buttons to fix this. You guys didn't see that. For those of you in the future, you can't see it. It doesn't exist. It's not real. You're imagining things. Even if you play the video back, you're imagining things. That didn't happen. I had underscores there the whole number of time. Okay, so anyway, if decimal active, then we are going to be adding to the decimal part. So because now we're treating the decimal as a whole number essentially, and we're only ever adding to the end, we can keep doing this times 10 plus entered number. Else, we can do whole number times 10 plus the input number. And then we will get number output for free. So then clear will be whole number 0, decimal number 0, decimal active. We don't even need to keep track of decimal places anymore. That's nice. We will still have a formula output, so we'll keep that there for now, ignoring all of that fun stuff. I don't even want to keep any of the rest of this logic. Menos IMAX. Cool. And this way, when we do the remove logic, all we have to do for either case is to do a mod 10 to remove the last number. So anytime decimal is active and we are adding a new number, it will get added to the decimal part. When the decimal is not active, which means we are only entering a whole number, then we will only add to the whole number. But when we do a remove, we care about decimal must be active and the decimal part must be greater than 0. So let's update the decimal active first by saying and gets decimal part is greater than 0. So what this means is the decimal active will disable itself when you no longer have any decimal points at the end of your number, or any numbers after the decimal point other than 0. That's what I meant to say. And then, is this really modulo? This is just a regular divided by, right? We need this. Dang. Wait, modulo gives you the remainder. We need because it might round if we just do a straight divide. So we want the whole number part only, whereas modulo would give us the remainder. So how do we do that? We go var mod equals decimal part mod 10, and it will be decimal part minus gets mod to bring it to 0, and then divide by 10. Okay, so we will do that in one step instead. No, I am not available, Ken. I told you this already. Somebody tell Ken that I have my calendar up and I am not available during this time. Full number. Okay. So this one doesn't actually need that. Okay, so what's going to happen if we are at 0? Oh man, he's just going to let it ring. And I don't want to push the decline button because I am not available. He's just going to let it keep going. That's really distracting. I'm going to have to wait until he's done with that. You know? Like every time. Every time. Oh, hello, Olavo Stauros. Olavo Stauros. Olavo. Oh, hi. How are you? We are in the middle of making a calculator for our financial management application and having some fun with it. I got distracted for a minute because one of the product owners or stakeholders, I guess, was trying to call me on Zoom during a time when I have myself marked as away. And because the sound from that computer comes out from here, it was really, really difficult for me to anything. Oh man, it was hard. I smelled when you said calculator and frowned when you said financial. This is not going to be a financial calculator. It's just going to be a regular calculator that does basic arithmetic, add, multiply, divide, subtract in that order. I don't know why I put it in that order. But anyway, we're just handling the functionality of what happens when you select a number and remove a number. So let's just see if that works. Oh yeah, I guess I was trying to figure out what happens if we are at 0. So if we were at 0, then whole number would already be 0. We would do whole number minus whole number modulo 10, which would be 0. So 0 minus 0 is 0, and 0 divided by anything is still 0. So we should be good on that front. We should never go purposefully negative. Nabom says, I think I've decided if I start streaming, my project is going to be virtual tackle box to support my fishing habit. That's awesome. What would you do with that? Would you essentially indicate what all of your tackles are? Your lures, your sinkers, your floaters, your bait? I don't know all the terminology. Anyway, and then have it essentially display it, or are you talking more organizing it, managing it? Like instead of just saying what's in the tackle box and where is it located, you say here are all of the fishing tools that I have and here's what they could be used for. This is good for catching trout. This is good for catching tuna. You're trying to lure me in? Olavo says, as I'm learning JavaScript, I want to code all these projects. Let's take a look. let us take a look. This is a lot of projects. Ooh, Breakout is extremely fun to do. I love coding Breakout. And you're going to do them in JavaScript too? That's awesome. I hope you have fun with that. Napalm wants to know if you fish Dukasoft. Custom video player. That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So this is a great idea. Make vanilla JavaScript projects or solutions. How about if you do a calculator too? It will be fun. Yeah, seems like it would be. I need to put this over here so I stop getting distracted by it. Hello, Thindle. Sorry I didn't respond earlier. I was in the middle of my work morning. But I did respond, and I vote for new features because I love new features. You could do it too, Key. Cool. I don't know why I can't see Twitch so that when you go live, I could see you. Because right now I have multi-stream on top, closely followed by... Actually, where did my multi-stream go? That's confusing. I can hear you. Oh, it must be... Yeah. Okay, when I opened the link, it went to the background. Okay. Um, actually, you know what? I'll just add you to my multi-stream now so that it'll start when you start. Thindal. So, guys, if you don't know Thindle, he is another fantastic streamer that does .NET development, mostly web development. Oh, his name is Lion. I got a joke. Yeah, what is your joke? I love jokes. Unless roar was the joke. In which case, I loved it. I took a fly fishing class this past winter. And then Dukasoft says, probably once a year in a lake with no fish. Awesome, awesome. The A option will be mostly creating a .http file for testing. But yeah, if you aren't following Thindle, there is a button up there. So if you want to see .NET development, a lot of modernization work where he's migrating from .NET Framework to .NET Core, and then having some elements of Blazor in there. And of course, you know that I absolutely love Blazor. And my favorite project types are the modernization, migration, upgrade type projects. .NET for Web have not heard. I heard .NET is only used for big business. That is incorrect. You can now hear that .NET, especially ASP.NET, is used for everything, everywhere. Large, small, personal projects. This financial calculator, for example, is a personal project for me. I did put it out there on GitHub so that you are able to see it and eventually contribute to it if you feel like it. But it is a Blazor. Well, I should say the UI for it is written in Blazor, and it's a multi-platform application. So it does desktop, mobile, web, TV. I would really like to see this on TV. I have a Samsung TV, so I wonder if I could somehow sideload this into the TV. I've never deployed a TV app. Let me just verify that Tizen is TV. Tizen OS is based Linux based, and it's Samsung Tizen OS. So yes, definitely would work on my TV. It'd be interesting to have a financial management tracker on my TV. That'd be weird. But anyway, here's the calculator that we were playing with. All right, this is what I was afraid of. I don't want to see the decimal place if it's 0. So let's fix that really quick. Let's also move this over. Dag nabbit, that was bad. My mouse without borders sometimes gets me if I move the screen too close to the edge. Oh man, and too close to the bottom too. Do 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 do. Okay. So we will be working on the design part as well. All right. So here we go. If decimal part is greater than 0, then I said we can add the decimal part, else string empty. Okay, and that way we don't print out. Are you going to need a rebuild just for that change? No. Okay, we don't print out the decimal if we're only entering it in a whole number, and we're not actually getting numbers. Great. So Olavo is speaking with Thindle. What about the pricing of Windows servers and other Microsoft services? In a lot of cases, if you're making a solo project, it's going to be free essentially. There are a lot of places where you can host your application, GitHub static pages. If you are going to be using databases and stuff, then there are like AWS has low cost services. Azure has low cost services. I'm sure that you could self host if it's just a personal project, but if it's something that you are trying to advertise and get other people to start using, then that's when you can start paying pennies. So, like right now, I'm using a little bit of Azure stuff and I'm paying 29 cents, which I think is the minimum cost per month. But my AWS, I have a database and an RDS, as well as my domains are through Amazon, so I get free certificates from them, and um, work mail, and I pay $30 a month. Okay, so why aren't you actually accumulating numbers for me? Handle number clicked, decimal is not active. We multiply it by 10 and then add the number. Oh, I wonder if, because we are modifying this private field, if we actually need to tell it to re-render. Wait for that to reload. Oh, come on. Would you at least tell me if it's working? Oh, did I need to make changes to the UI part? Night. Night. This is fine. All right. Oh, can I have that other suggestion back? Alt period? Whatever. Dang it. Dang it. Sure, why not? Num clicked. Save, hot reload, open console, push a button, check console. Yeah, so it is going into here. Decimal active should be false. So we're not doing this one. We're doing this one. We're doing decimal.parse whole number in that case, because decimal part is not greater than 0. Oh yeah, I was trying to read all of this discussion. Okay. What about pricing? And then Thindle responded, it can be hosted on Linux since the last 7 years or so, 6 years. And then Olavo said, I had a discussion about prices of technologies and applications. C# and Java were considered expensive. For first party things, before that, there was Mono, which wasn't built by Microsoft, but built and supported by Microsoft. The information that you probably don't need. You can run .NET for literally whatever you pay for a Docker container to run. You don't even need a Docker container. The .NET old .NET Core version is hella efficient and runs everywhere. TM, Windows, Linux, Mac, phone, etc. So yeah, .NET Core. You can host on Linux, and like for AWS, you can get a Linux Beanstalk for free, I think, for your app. So it's just the price that you pay for the hosting for the domain. Realistically, I got to learn the basics of many technologies if I want to be a junior, but right now I feel JavaScript is easier to make money in a real small scope. I mean, JavaScript requires the least amount of setup. You grab a text file or Visual Studio Code and you put some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript together. Now, if you're talking JavaScript frameworks like React or Vue or Angular, then that does take quite a bit more setup, quite a bit more learning about how to use their package managers. And yeah, if you're going to do that, it's good to learn vanilla JavaScript. It's good to learn JavaScript, HTML, and CSS if you want to do web development in general. But .NET, the .NET ecosystem is a fantastic way to create web applications. Because like I said, I have one UI and I could run this application in desktop, for example, not UWP. That's going to be for HoloLens coming up soon. So if we debug, run, then this app that you see in the web right here that we are working on will run in desktop. And it's the exact same UI, exact same code, exact same logic. Nothing is rewritten except for how the UI is presented. So I have a WPF app, and the only thing inside of that WPF app project is my main window that has a lag Blazor Web View Control. And that Blazor Web View Control says use the Blazor UI that's in a separate library. The current one that you're looking at here is a Blazor WebAssembly version of the application, which means that it's going to load into the browser all of the DLLs and everything needed to run the application as if it was running on your machine, but inside of your browser sandbox. I also have a Blazor server version, which would run entirely on the server, but still provide the same UI and dynamic experience. I also have a Maui version that is the one that allows me to create the Android, iOS, Tizen, Mac, and Windows version. So instead of having a separate WPF project, I could just use the Windows project from the Maui app. It's just it takes a lot longer to build. So that's why I have a separate WPF. The UWP one, they recently added the ability to use a web view in HoloLens projects or just UWP projects in general. So that was an experiment with that. So that's how we can do multi-platform targeting with the same UI and logic and core functionality. AWS and low cost doesn't fit in the same sentence, but it does. It does. I haven't looked too much into it, but you can definitely investigate that. So Tizen, aka Samsung stuff, not 100% sure if it runs WebOS, but I'd imagine it does. It does. So this Samsung thing that I'm using as a monitor runs WebOS, right? No. I mean, the UI for it looked like whatever Tizen is. So I don't know. I don't need to know either at the moment. Azure has free services. I think you can run 10 app services for free. That is awesome. I'm running, I wouldn't say a lot, but a medium amount of stuff, and I pay like 20 bucks a month. That's good to know, says Olavo. Learning new technologies and ways to make business awesome. So definitely feel free to hang out with our community. We always encourage people to keep growing. We try to help out where we can. So if you feel like joining our Discord as well, you can ask questions there. If you happen to get to a point where you're confident in your abilities and you find other people asking questions that you can help with, then we would appreciate that support as well. And then Thindle said to Olavo, to make it dead simple, when creating a new project, you can just click to have it build a Docker file and everything for you so it packs it all up when you run and publish. Zero effort. And then Olavo says, is this message my view? In this message, my view is that I should learn the basics of a wide pool of technologies so it's easier to find a client employer. Yeah, I mean, possibly. I'm considering PHP and Laravel. So what I did is I specialized in .NET, and there is no shortage of positions for .NET development. There are a lot of large enterprises that are using a lot of legacy systems, and those legacy systems were written in either ASP Classic or the first few versions of ASP.NET with .NET Framework. And yeah. I don't know. I'm working like my previous 3 jobs. So I held a position with the federal service with the United States government for 14 years, and they used ASP Classic and ASP.NET, and then eventually .NET Core. And then I moved to another position. Oh no. Finite. I was listening to your stream too. I didn't even realize that you're heading over here. Thank you so much for the raid. Oh my gosh. I had you a little bit too quiet, so I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much for being here. I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself after a few minutes. I'm finishing responding to Olavo, who is talking about learning a whole bunch of different technologies, web technologies, so that he has the best chance of getting a job with a company. And that's great. Again, I was going to say that I've specialized in .NET because I was fortunate to be in positions that required .NET. Then the next position that I found was also .NET. And now the position that I'm in is, again, .NET. And I'm using it a lot. I use it every day, and it's been tons of fun. But for starting off, just to get your foot in the door, learning that wide array of JavaScript, PHP, .NET, whatever else you can think of, Java, and getting the basics down, yeah, definitely go for it, because you will learn more from the position that you end up getting, and then you can think about specializing more in those areas, especially when you find something to be more fun. I'm haven't considered .NET. And then Aztec said, JavaScript with only Notepad++ is doable? Absolutely. Yep. Dukasoft says, not PHP. I'm on vacation. Don't talk about PHP. So Dukasoft has to work a lot with PHP. ChatGPT roasted Blazor, saying the download for the browser is big. That was true 2 years ago, 3 years ago. ChatGPT is like 2 years behind, isn't it? And then right now I'm in a JavaScript journey. Yeah, so keep going. Don't let us help you stray from that path. Definitely continue your journey. Again, our community, Finite, could help with that as well. Finite's community, amazing people. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick pause to say hello to everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I am One Lion. and you've come to a stream where we do a lot of .NET development. I know it's not quite what you're used to if you're a finite watcher, but yeah. We do Blazor, and the application that I'm working on, I will show it again in just a couple after I say hi. But hi, finite. I'm probably missing chat. That's way down here, so I'm going to scroll through to the bottom and then work my way back up. Dukasoft posted the link for this project. So our stream project is the financial management calculator. Polarin misses PHP. Nice. Specialist positions earn more than full stack. Oh, I am full stack though. It's just that I've specialized in .NET full stack development. Oh, yeah, no problem, Finite. Thank you so much for the raid. Got a raid and run. As kiddo needs lunch, but we'll lurk. You don't even have to lurk if you don't want to, but I appreciate you raiding. Much love, much hearts, much friends. Cool. All right, we have arrived. Hermagerd. Wait, Hermurmurgerd. I don't know how to pronounce that one. I know Ermagerd, but not Hermurmurgerd. Hello, Cypher. Hello, Polarin. Hello, Ian. Ian Alex Hart. Hello, Lukey fam. I hope you guys have had a great day. I hope you had fun over on Finite Stream. I love hanging out on his stream. He's got a great vibe. He's got tons of fun stuff to interact with. I apologize for my lack of stuff to interact with. I am during the day, I am working on a normal day job, and then I used to be able to stream my day job, but I got a new job, and all of the code that I write for that job is client confidential, so I'm not allowed to even share who the client is. But I do work for Sagetti, and just so you know, any views and opinions that I express on this channel are my own views and opinions and may not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Sagetti. That out of the way. So I work for Sagetti 8 to 10 hours starting at 4:30, and then I stream on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then I cook, do dinner, and then I go back to doing more work in the evenings for something else. So I don't really have outside of work time to do stream stuff. So that's why it's kind of lacking in that area. Hey, where did my actual Slipstream song go? Excuse me. Excuse me. You're supposed to be showing me what music is playing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. The music on the stream is being provided by Slip.stream, just so you know, because I used to use Soundtrack, but then they shut down Soundtrack because not enough people were using it or something. Anyway, okay, so the project. My stream is actually good. Oh no. And my audio is clipping? Is that true? Is my audio clipping for anyone else? Am I just speaking too quietly? It shouldn't be clipping. I'm using Crisp, and I have a Yeti. What are these called? A blue microphone. Crisp. Are you doing weird things to me? Yeah, it is called a Yeti. Anyway, a Yeti microphone. Oonga boonga microphone. Exactly. Okay, so as I was mentioning before, the application is a financial management tracker. I chose it for the stream so that I could show a full stack cross-platform application that you could follow along with. I have it all of the previous videos posted on YouTube. Most of it is just me interacting with chat, but we do some work on the stream on occasion. But I do post all of the videos to YouTube after the stream. But this application, as you can see, I am targeting Windows with WPF, multi-platform using Maui for Android, Tizen iOS, Mac, and also Windows in there. Blazor WebAssembly. And so this is where Olavo's mention about what ChatGPT said about Blazor will come into play, because right now we are specifically looking at Blazor WebAssembly. when we're debugging and stuff, and Blazor server. And Juan Van is here. Hello, Juan Van. No fun allowed on the stream. Oh no. Why not? That's what the stream is about. Code fun every day. The ability to write. Well, I guess it's not daily anymore. It used to be daily code fun, but now it's like every other day. Um, yeah. So anyway, this application is intended to show the full gambit. And thank you so much for the follows, everyone that did follow when you came in. Sorry I missed all of those. Olavo, you followed a million hours ago. And then Cypher Enigma and JD Does Dev. Thank you so much. So much. No fun, only despair. So what we did for this project, I'm going to use the link that Dukasoft gave us. Thank you so much. He's the best non-bot bot ever. And I always forget the command for that. You were lurking with Finite and ended up here. I'm not disappointed. Well, that's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Thanks. I really don't know what to say in response, so I'll just say thanks. So I put the project that we're working on in GitHub, and this here tells us how we got started. You can go to the YouTube channel to see the very beginnings where we were doing all of the design and information about it. Picking what technologies to use, picking what type of database, the structure on it, and Irish John Games is here. Hello, Irish John Games. Actually, you know what? For those of us in my community, which I doubt there are no, there is anyone that doesn't already know Finite, but here is a good clip of Finite Singularity. I'm sure it's going to be a good clip. Here it is.
We developers, we do, a lot of us end up with mental health issues from time to time.
This is
Or
true.
a lot. It's very, very common. Burnout is very, very common.
I
Anxiety
told
is
you it was
very,
going to be
very
a good one.
common. You know, getting into modes where you can get depressed is very, very common. And I think a lot of that revolves around lack of sleep. I think a lot of that revolves around the pressure that comes into these things. And taking time for yourself to recharge your batteries, to
Yes. Okay, so he was going somewhere really good with that. I have my clips cut down to 30 seconds so that if there's music in the clip that it doesn't get me banned. Not banned. Claim. Copyright claim. But anyway, that was a really good thought. That was awesome. That was a really good clip. I'll have to thank him for that one. You shouldn't be against piracy, not when it's rise of piracy. Anyway, Irish John Games is also here, so you all know him, you all love him. He's a fantastic game developer. And if any of you also are streamers, then let me know. But yeah, we have the link to his game on Steam. Love it. Wishlist it. Get the word out. It'll be coming out soon-ish. He is being published by Microprose, which is also super duper awesome. Am I using Dapper or Entity Framework? I am using Entity Framework. So yeah, we'll talk about all of that stuff. You can actually read it right here. So database, SQL, I thought most likely SQLite, but I'm using Entity Framework. Core as the ORM. I'm using currently full SQL. Language and SDK. I'm using C#, Razor, .NET 7. I need to update this. And web technology project types, we're going to be using Blazor Server and Blazor WASM and a shared UI and shared services. But we are also, which I didn't put in here, targeting Windows, Android, iOS, Mac OS, etc. UI frameworks, we are not using any third-party CSS. Well, did I actually get rid of Bootstrap? I think I may have actually gotten rid of Bootstrap. And we are rolling our own CSS. Yeah, we roll our own CSS, write our own components. I'm not even using my component library, I don't think. No. I am not even using my own component library. So I have a component library that it's okay. It's not great. It's just something that I put together while I was at my previous job for reusable components that I used all the time throughout the apps that I was converting to Blazor. But you can see those here on my GitHub as well. So we have everything from cards to what are they called? Type aheads, slider buttons, which should actually just be in buttons. I really should just make a whole buttons section. Um, but yeah, bunches of stuff. I don't really have a good demo page for it either, but we got something. At least there's something that you can look at. This one was my favorite to put together, the drag and drop one. I think it was one of my very first components to put together, but it has a lot of features to it where you can edit items. Except this one doesn't allow us to edit items. So anyway, ignore that error. That happened last time too. You can have complex items in here. And then my favorite, you can have a drag and drop where you can group things together to create like a SQL, a visual SQL builder, query builder. Um, that one was tons and tons of fun. And I used this in a project that was a document management system. Yeah. Everyone saying hello to everyone. This guy. Does your game let me pirate the new Barbie movie? Wrong kind of pirating. Wrong kind of pirating. JD Does Dev says, I do TypeScript and React on stream mostly, but I'm professionally a PHP developer. Hey, there's someone that you can check out. Olavo. Do you mind if I call you Olavo, by the way? Olav? Which one works better for you? I'll probably forget anyway. I've heard a lot about CRUD. Is that something advanced? CRUD is not advanced. It just is an acronym that stands for a methodology of breaking up procedures. Yeah. So for databases, you can create records, you can read records, you can update records, and you can delete records. So it's just a basic approach that you can think of when you need to make some kind of CRUD application like a movie database, a management system. So Apocalypse is here. Whoa, he even gave me he gave me time to react to that and I still got freaked out by it. That was awesome. Um, yeah, primary actions when interacting with the database. So in our application, we do a lot of CRUD operations as well. We have a data entry system for being able to add new items. We can read the items, so we can see all of our database items. We can update the items by clicking on this, and we can delete items. So just your basic CRUD. But yeah, this one is definitely a SQL database. I guess to talk a little bit more about the application, it isn't intended to be like Mint or other applications that connect to your financial institutions and are able to read all of your transactions, pull them in. It's intended for you to manually enter them. And the story goes that I have been using an Access file, Access database since 2013 to do this exact thing. So I have all of my finances, all of my spending, all of my savings, all of my transferring between accounts, like credit card payments is a transfer going from my checking account to my credit card account. So I have all of those since 2014 hand jammed into this Access database. And I used to use the actual Access database engine for all of it, but then I moved all of the data into SQL. So then I connected my Access database application thing to the SQL database. And now it's just updating that. And since I already have all of the data in SQL, it was really easy for me to create a web version of the app, and not just a web version, just the Blazor UI that uses services that will talk to whatever database we tell it to talk to and update the data and present it in either web, desktop, Android, etc. form. And I think I still have the desktop version running. So this is what it looks like as a desktop application for now, but you can see that it's exactly the same app. You can do all of the same things. Because it's the same UI, it's connected to the same backend services. It works almost exactly like the WASM version. I want to know about the SQLDB technologies. I want to lead your knowledge. Well, definitely there are tons of people on the YouTubes that have talked about Entity Framework in specific. Entity Framework. I have not seen this one, I don't think. But the .NET channel is a great place to go to learn about Entity Framework. An Entity Framework is an object relational object relation model. Is it ORM? Anyway, it's a way for you to interact with your database using C# code or using .NET code. So you can specify any database provider that they have support for, or roll your own even, and you can do the normal basic CRUD operations for your database, as well as doing advanced things like creating tables based off of your properties or your models that you have in C# code. Whatever, you know what I mean by C# code. So for me, that looks like this separate database project where I specify what my database should look like here and what all of the tables properties should be. And all of my actual tables and views as C# objects. So that when I want to read and write from to the database, then I use server-side services for doing stuff like getting data using Entity Framework, or creating new records, or updating existing records, or marking records as deleted. So my delete operation is essentially an update that just sets a deleted flag. I need a front-end framework, a back-end framework, and DB framework. I mean, regardless of how you, well, not always, no. If you use something like MVC or Blazor server, even, that Blazor server is running fully on the server. There are things that you can do in the UI that use JavaScript that will only happen in the UI, but everything else will happen in the server. So one place to code. As I mentioned, though, I am trying to show all of the possibilities of what you can do with one UI project, which is the Blazor UI, and each of the project types. So if you're doing it in Blazor server, then you are only needing this Blazor server implementation of all the services. Or not Blazor server, just server-side implementation of all the services. For Blazor WebAssembly and desktop applications and Android applications, then there is this client-side version where you will do HTTP requests, and then that'll go to an API on the server, and the API is the thing that'll do all of the server-side logic and functionality. So King of Kimchi, oh my gosh, I can read. King of Kimchi asked how long did this thing take to create? I don't know, we're on day 151. So like it would have gone a lot faster had I not been just talking most of the time like I'm doing right now. But the first video was uploaded from our stream on 1 year ago. Watch it be like exactly 1 year ago today. Oh, that's day 3. That's day 3. Let's try day 1. Nope, that's the Blazor Hybrid stuff. Where is day 1 of this project? Customizing the toolbar. Here we are. Day 1 of this project was July 21, 2022. 1 year and 5 days ago. So that's how long it took us to get here. We are done with all of the core functionality. So now we are doing things like adding features. We're adding a calculator that for some reason when I click a button, it's not actually updating my number when it was before. We're going to redo the UI. Speaking of the UI, this is what we started with as far as UI design. So I had 3 designs that I just threw together, and I'm like, yeah, I like this one. It's dark. Sure. And then we built on that one, and I sketched out some screens for what it should look like. And we pretty much stuck to that design for the most part, but I don't like it anymore now that I'm seeing it. Um, so, oh wow, that is impressive. Devlog, is it educative to people who are not that well versed in C Sharp? I don't know. Like, there are a ton of people that do come in and ask questions on the stream. So, those tidbits are definitely not advanced. They're more along the beginner to intermediate level questions and answers. So, yes and no, because there's also a lot of stuff that I do that you just kind of get used to the patterns, and I don't really know what counts as beginner or what isn't anymore. Um, yeah, yeah. Sass says I understand. Like for example, Sass. I use Sass for all of my CSS. And the structure that I have is this Sass folder where I have a whole bunch of partials that go into my main app.css. But for each of my components, they typically have their own isolated CSS that does any kind of overrides to the global styles. So if I have something specific in my login form that I want to style that's different than what I get for free from my global styles, then I update it in there. Layouts of pages are typically what I put in those. This calculator, for example, is a modal, and so I style that modal for this calculator specifically. Yeah, just do it, enjoy the journey, and stream. That's, yeah, that's exactly what I do. I still wish that I could be streaming my work product. That seemed to be a lot more interesting than picking a random side project. Although, again, this is something I'm going to use myself, and it's open source so that you have access to the code. You can ask questions on it, you can contribute to it if you feel like. I will do my best to be a maintainer if I start getting PRs. It'll be rough though, because like I said, I go from work to stream to work to cook to work some more, and then do it all over again the next day. And then on the weekends, I spend as much of that time as I can with just my wife. So I am just wanting to keep in touch with her all the time. Yeah. Okay. So we are caught up. Let us figure out why clicking these buttons is not giving us any numbers. Yes. Enjoy it. Do it all over again. Enjoy again. It's a good loop. Yeah, especially if you actually do enjoy what you do for a living and you can get paid for it. It's fantastic. Oh, Findle did start streaming, by the way. So I need to turn him up just a little bit. And as long as he is still streaming in the next hour, when we end the stream, we will be rating him. But he is working on my favorite types of projects, which are, as I mentioned before, modernization projects. Oh, I love them so much. Okay, so we are pushing a button. That button has a callback, a C# callback. And that C# callback is getting hit because we can see console output that says you clicked whichever number you clicked. So that's right here. So I'm thinking, Oh, I'm thinking that this is doing the equivalent of whole number equals whole number times the group 10 plus num, as opposed to just reading left to right and doing whole number times 10 and then adding num. I think it's doing whole number times 10 plus number. Ah, that's disgusting. So do I have to write it this way? I do have to write it this way. Even the code suggestion is saying that it doesn't have any recommendations. So I'm pretty sure that's what the issue is. Save. Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Dev Bubble has helped me so much. It's not an optimal way to learn, but it's awesome to passively leech knowledge. Yeah, so the other thing that I really, really want to get into is augmented reality development. So quick shout out to Solo Solipsis. Shoot out. Solo Solipsist. He does AR and VR development, but I want to get to a point where I could just open up Unity, start creating a scene, and create a an augmented reality application for use on HoloLens specifically because that's what I happen to have. But I want to turn this app into a HoloLens app somehow, and that'll be my intro to it. So what I end up doing is passively watch a lot of game developer streamers, especially those that use Unity, while I work on my normal job. Which is, again, I'm not really picking much up, but I'm getting to see people working in Unity on occasion. I'll pick something up. But the way that I will end up learning that is once I'm done with all of the projects that I have. Such a Microsoft nerd. Yeah. Once I'm done with all of the projects that I do have, I will be deep diving into only doing Unity projects, and hopefully we'll be able to do some of that on the stream. Unless you don't like Unity projects, in which case we will continue doing just Visual Studio.net. Hmm. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's also nothing to be ashamed of if you don't like them. You have your preferences, like Mojo. Mojo doesn't like Microsoft. It's growing on him a little, but not much. And thank you so much for the follow, Sass. I'm probably cutting myself off a lot, but that's okay. We got stuff working, right? I push a button, we see the number, I push another button, multiplies this number by 10, and then adds the number that I just typed. So now we can do numbers. We'll add the decimal. Actually, we'll add the decimal now. So we'll do button. What side does the decimal button usually go on? The right? The right. And then the plus minus negate is on the left. And we'll have a separate handler for that. And I'm sure that there's an ASCII code for, or an ASCII character for plus minus. So we'll use that too. Oh my goodness. I can't delete it. So again, what I'm doing here with this at on click syntax, so a normal on click will use a JavaScript callback. So you put in whatever JavaScript function you want. In Blazor, at on click will let you use a C# method. So this is going to be handle negate clicked. And you will see me missing the A lot because my keyboard, the A key broke. And I have not been able to find a replacement keycap for it. Well, the replacement keycaps for this particular keyboard only exist on laptopkeys.com, and they're $15 per keycap. But the actual bracket for it is the thing that broke, the thing on the keyboard, the little hooks that stick out that you put the plastic piece into. So I need to figure out how to get that fixed because this keyboard was expensive and I'm not going to toss the keyboard for one letter that broke. How do you like your keeps? It's my favorite keyboard that I've ever owned. I love it so much. It is called Logitech Options. You couldn't find a key. Is that like finding the any key? Ooh. I probably lost the any key since then too. It used to have an any key. Um, this is my keyboard and mouse combination. This is a Logitech Ergo, MX Ergo, and this is an MX Keys. Right, and you have to open a separate application instead of just a regular options. My keyboard is almost dead. So my favorite thing about this keyboard is it uses Logitech's unifying technology. So I can pair it with up to 3 dongles. So when I'm working at my computer, I use mouse without borders to go across from this computer to my work laptop to my other work laptop. And then I have another computer over there that uh, I can just switch to number 3 to use my mouse and keyboard on that computer. Unfortunately, the mouse only has 2 that I compare with, but still better than 0 or than 1 0. Ah, you want Portuguese Brazilian layout. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know how these are offered. I don't recommend buying this one. It's not very ergonomic and it's heavy. It's like a tank, but I love it. I just absolutely love this keyboard myself. Do I think other people would like it? Probably not. Most people like mechanical keyboards. They do make this with mechanical keys, though, by the way, which is a lot easier to get replacements for. Um, but they have a mechanical key version of this keyboard. But this one is low profile. You can barely hear the key taps, and it's just right for me. It's super smooth too. I've had it for 2 years, I think, so far. I like mechanical keyboards. The only switch I tried so far is the red. I don't know what that means. Red switches, not so good for code, but good for gaming. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by switch. I'm not in the know with hardware. Like I use what is good to me and then I don't really look at much else. Which is probably bad, but that's okay. We need to create a function, private void pasta. I still had it in my clipboard. Switch colors is the switch used for mechanical keyboards. Dukesoft says I'm using red switches. Yeah, I still don't know what that means. Like you explained it, but I really don't know. Red silent switches. Okay, so the switch is the button itself, right? Each of the keys, the entire key. Oh, Google Mechanical Keyboard Switch. Yeah, okay. So it's the actual button mechanism. Yes. Okay. I remember a little bit from my electrical engineering classes. Actually, it was computer engineering, but I majored in computer science. I don't do very much with hardware ever. I mean, I can do just enough, but mm-mm. I'm not very hardware savvy. I love software. Okay, handle negate clicked will be whole number plus or times gets -1. Easy. And then finally handle period. It will just be toggling decimal. Dang it. Toggling decimal active. Pasta equals not pasta. Pasta does equal pasta. Who lied to you? Sometimes pasta equals coffee, though. I have these going in no, I have them going in the right order. Button decimal is going to be a period. We'll probably, again, use another ASCII character for that that stands out more. But for now, I'll just put period. Save. I'm considering financing a computer science degree. I'm interested in math and data stuff. Yeah, so formal education isn't for everyone. It isn't for every goal that you have. I used formal education to help me with not even to help me. So like it was kind of just the logical progression. My eldest brother, or start with my dad. My dad was in the army and then he retired. My eldest brother joined the Navy after high school. My second oldest brother joined the Air Force after high school. So naturally, I would join the college. So I went to university. I was like, military life is not for me. So I attended school. I failed my first 1 to 2 years because I was working full time, funding my own college. Didn't get very many scholarships or grants or anything. I wasn't great at school. I was terrible at school, actually. Um, and yeah, so eventually, after failing and after screwing around and doing young adult things, I decided that I was going to be super serious about it. Wanted to get my degree, so I finished university. It took me 9 years to get through it, but I finished. I got high marks in the computer science courses and low marks in UGE undergrad courses. Um, but in the long run, what I learned was how to persevere, how to just just be myself. Oh yeah, right. There's one thing that I forgot about this. So it's a really good thing to help you learn your limits and learn how to be more self-disciplined. But I don't know that it's a great learning experience in the long run. Okay. If we have a decimal part, then we can't turn off the period. Yeah. So if I push period again, we can't add to the whole number part. Okay. Anyway, so XYZ, is it ZIJ? Ziwich? 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 Anyway, hi, thank you so much for the follow. Um, but my awesome, that works. Look at it go. I can't believe that functionality just worked. Sewage. He says with a trolley face. Yeah, my personal recommendation, if I could have recommended this to myself, again, I'm really glad for the experience of university. I made a lot of mistakes that I learned from, and it was good overall. And I met my wife, so that obviously, obviously amazing. But I don't think I would have ever met anyone if I didn't go to university. It would have had to have been someone from my workplace because I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. Moving on. Uh, if I could have told myself to do something different as far as pursuing my goals for learning software development, I would have told myself to do something more along the lines of eating tacos every day for a week. No, of doing a technical college or something that is specific to focusing on the skills that I needed for software development instead of all of the extra undergrad courses that had very little or nothing to do with my degree, with my pursuits. Um, Plus, all of the free resources that we have in this day and age that we didn't have back in 2000 um, are fantastic. You could learn just about any skill by consuming enough tutorials, blogs, videos, free resources is what I'm trying to say. Make use of free resources. Um, I wouldn't start off with ChatGPT. Like a lot of people have said before that ChatGPT is a good way to learn, but because it often hallucinates and gives information as if it's the truth, I wouldn't start with that. I would use ChatGPT more as a tool after you're trying to figure out how to do a thing once you've learned the basics of that thing. So, how do I don't know, set a callback for one of these buttons in Blazor? And then it gives you code. Then you'd be able to read the code and be like, yeah, this does make sense. I can try that. And then if it doesn't work, then you have a little bit more knowledge of what you can do to fix it. It doesn't throttle with simple stuff. It only hallucinates really with advanced stuff. I've had it hallucinate in lots and lots of cases. Yes. Okay, our calculator is almost complete, by the way. Um, let's do a little bit of something to make the decimal point a little bit more helpful, real quick. So if decimal is active, I would like to add a style. Decimal active empty. And if decimal is active, or I guess not even decimal is active, if we have a number in the decimal places that's greater than 0, I don't want you to be able to toggle the decimal point off. We already have logic written in the handler, but we may as well provide visual feedback that you can't turn off the decimal point when you are already using the decimal point. So that is going to be a disabled attribute because, again, any Joe Schmo that knows how to use DevTools could undisable, could re-enable a button that you are trying to disable using code somehow. But it definitely does says sewage, especially with JavaScript. And if you don't actually want me calling you sewage, just let me know. Okay, so the only time that we want to not be able to disable is if decimal part is greater than 0. So that means that we have already typed some numbers into the decimal places. So let's watch that at work. Why? Oh, I wonder if the visual representation of disabled. Yeah, so it is disabled, but I don't have any styles for what the button should look like if it's disabled. So let's go into our general styles so that we can update what a disabled button looks like. So I use Sass. So here I'm targeting button and the BTN class. I am going to also say if it is disabled or, oh, not colon, or it is the disabled attribute actually has the disabled value, or the CSS selector disabled, then apply these styles. We're just going to see what Copilot gave us, which is essentially GPT-4. So why not? I'm sure it was right. Do I even have a CSS rule or variable for disabled? I don't. How are you giving me a button disabled? Okay. Button, button, button. button, button, button. Where are all of my colors? Here. Button disabled color. Oh, that's border color. We will use primary. So for now, let's use far light or gray. We need something that is more muted. My bad. But yeah, we want button background color. And we want button foreground. But I did like that it gave me enough of the rule that I only need to fill in these variables. So do I have something that's a little bit grayer than light? Nothing that I have already defined. So let's go find one. We don't have very many colors to choose from. So for now, I am just going to choose a off gray that I'm just going to manually put here because again, we are going to redesign the UI and make it pretty and make it nice. Don't call you sewage. Aw. It kind of, I mean, I won't, I promise. Shall I just call you X then? Or Ziz? Or Sis? Oh no, I don't want, what are you doing? That's not what I wanted. I just wanted something that is off-white but darker than light. So F0, F3, F0 is my light. Let's go to maybe DDD. DDD is a good gray. DDD. X is reserved by Twitter. Yeah, I'd like to see them try to trademark that. Kind of like how, and I don't know if this is real or if it's just what is being spread, if it's like a Mandela effect, but Sprint, the phone company, was upset about developers using the term sprint to mean an iteration. And so we're not allowed, like at least within the client that I'm working with, we're not allowed to use the term sprint. We have to use iteration. Whatever is easiest, preferably not sewage though. Wait. Foreground color will also be the border color. And the background color, we can make a not quite as dark black, but something pretty close. What do you look like? All right, that looks like a disabled button, doesn't it? I mean, it's kind of ugly, but again, we can adjust these styles. Sue, can we just call you Sue? Or wait, that's so. Um, I'll see myself out. Okay. The other one that I wanted though was when the period button is active. So if a button has the active class, then I kind of want it to have a different style as well, like button active foreground, background, border colors. I would end it just fine. You want to know how it ends. What should an active button look like? How about if we use link color for the text? Yeah. Hmm. Oranong. I know Oranong. Let's go back. Hmm. I'll just leave it at that for, well, no, that's going to make it too bright on there. How about if we just make it blue? We'll use the standard background color and border color. Okay, X. Ziz. Size. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out, though. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays if you ever feel like coming back. Same time. On Fridays, we have a thing called Community Day. All right, Olaf. We have a thing called Community Day where I open up a Discord voice channel and we all have conversations using our voice for anyone that's interested in doing that. So feel free to come back for that as well. And Apocalypse is dancing. He's dancing. Dancing with the little Kevin. I guess I want to move my border rules up. Yeah, I have trouble organizing my SAS, my CSS in general. But this makes sense to me since I'm using the border color down here. Then I would also like to have it before my first use. So I'm just going to use whatever button border color for now, but it will be overwritable, which is why I'm putting it in its own variable. So button background color, button border color, and we're just turning the actual text on it to a different color. Yeah, yeah. Isn't CSS supposed to look messy? No, no. I hope not. I want it to be organized. Let's use this color. I just want to see something. Dang it. Pasta. Okay, so this is bothering me too. I like to have them in the same order every time. Wait, this is foreground, background. Foreground, background. Foreground, background. What did I do with my disabled background? Or disabled border? Oh no. Excuse me. Where did this go? It's right here. I'm so blind. Okay, so I put border first and then foreground and then background. Foreground, background, border, foreground, background, border, foreground, background. Okay, fine. Whatever. Save. What does it look like? It looks like you need to format. Okay, so when you are active, you can't really tell. Not helpful. What else can we do to it? This looks like organized chaos, to be fair. I hope so. I mean, I have comments that split it up into sections. I don't know what else to do in a CSS file. I can't use regions. Um, active border color will be something more like this color because I have that as an active tab. On. Okay, so we got the border color and background. Yeah, what happens if we use the same thing for the background color and then make the foreground color light? Hey, I don't mind that. I mean, it's using the same colors that we're using elsewhere in the app to mean active. Why not? Okay, so now you know when the decimal point is active and you're about to, when you push the next number, the decimal point will be active. And then you can see when it turns itself off. Why is 7 giving me 2? Because I'm adding every time. I'm adding every time and I need to subtract if negative is active. Great. Something else to keep track of. So let's write our rule to say if decimal part is less than zero, then use -1, otherwise 1 times number. Okay, so we're either going to add or subtract depending on if the number is negative. Although decimal part will never be negative, so let's undo that. I meant whole number part. Mojo says, does this calculator do RNP? Is it in the project scope? What is RPN? I'm dyslexic, sorry. What is RPN? It doesn't do financial calculator stuff. It just does reverse Polish notation. Okay, good. All right, I fixed it. That was scary. Good, good. Still works. All right, so we are able to to put in numbers. Now we need plus and minus to work. Oh, I may as well do a quick commit. Especially, oh no, not good. We added classes and buttons and reordered buttons. So let's put that in its own commit. Where's that? Wow. Stage, which I guess we can put this with it. Reordered buttons and wrote code behind for button click and yep, the end. Commit. Styled CSS. Styled calculator. Better. Sure. Better. It's a real word, dang it. Okay. It's basic calculator functionality, but you essentially type it in the calculator like we learned to write math. So you'd hit 1 and then enter, and then 2 and then plus right now. Not. I refuse. You can't make me. There's a lot of usage of comma separator for not. Oh, right. So that is a consideration. I do have localization as far as I'm using a dictionary, which currently only supports English, but we could provide other languages. But we could also do internationalization where we show numbers and actually, no, that's still part of localization. The internationalization would be the actual colors used in the app and layout and stuff. Anyway, we could do stuff like make this a comma if we are using a language whose, I forget what it's called. It's something separator uses the comma. It's an option on Mac, so you should give it a try. I don't have a Mac. In fact, the weird thing was I was in possession of an iPad for 2 days. So the weirdest thing happened on Monday. Not really the weirdest. I was cooking. It was after my workday. I was cooking and doorbell rang. I don't know if you remember if you were here on Monday, but Monday the doorbell rang and I realized it was our pest control people that were trying to get my attention. But I don't answer my door if I'm not expecting anyone. The end. So anyway, at around 4 o'clock, my doorbell rang again, and I ignored it. But I have a doorbell camera, so I went ahead and just looked at the doorbell camera anyway, just to see if it was like, what are they called? Salespeople, door to door people. So I looked at it, and it was a kid that was walking a dog. He came up to the door, set something down, looked over at the doorbell, looked away, looked at the doorbell, pushed the doorbell, and then walked off as fast as he could with his dog. So I was like, huh? So I go outside, or I go to the door to check what he left, and he left an iPad, a dirty iPad, but it was an iPad nonetheless. And the screen was cracked, and it was just weird. So I took the video from my doorbell cam, and I took some, what are they called? Screen captures? Stills. I took some stills from it, and I posted it on. We have an app for our neighborhood called Nextdoor. So I posted it on Nextdoor, and I was like, "Do any of you recognize this young person?" Screen grabs. Yeah. Do any of you recognize this young person? If you do, please contact me. They left something here, and I would like to return it to you. And in the meantime, I was charging the iPad so that I could connect it to the interwebs, but I didn't want to use my personal network to connect it to the interwebs. So I was going to set up a guest thingy on my router, guest network, I guess, so that I could connect it to the internet because the iPad itself didn't have the screen on it that said this device is lost, it belongs to blah. So I'm like, maybe it needs to connect to the internet and they'll mark it as lost somehow. But I never got around to adding it. But yesterday, while I was cooking again around the same time, my doorbell rang and it was the people. So the kid was with them, and it was two people that were like, I think you maybe have something of ours. Sorry about that. Confirmed that it was theirs, and yeah, it was good. Oh, well, I don't mind if the guest IP comes back to me. I don't mind that one bit. It's like my WAN IP. It was more so not allowing them to have the credentials for connecting to the hotspot on their phone, on their iPad, because I couldn't get into it. Obviously, it had a code, but I also didn't want it to be on my local internal network where all of my other computers are devices, I guess. But I never got around to connecting it anyway, so I was like, whatever. But they did come and pick it up yesterday, and it was just weird. It was just odd. No explanation of why he dropped it off. I didn't ask because I don't really care. I just wanted to not be the one to have to deal with it. Yep, exactly. There's always Starbucks. I could have just gone to somewhere else, but again, I don't really leave the house. Every now and then I'll drive down to Taco Bell to pick up an order, but other than that, I stay home. I don't really do outside ever, except when we went to Mexico. I guess that was outside. Anyway, the calculator works. Look, we can add numbers, remove numbers. Now let's get the add functionality and the the minus, subtract, whatever minus stands for. Private void handle add clicked. So I'm going to use the same active active class so that we know what operation you are about to do. We will store the previous number that we currently have, and we'll show it up here as the current number that we are doing something with. We'll put the plus sign after it. And then as the user is typing in here, then they could still push minus and stuff before they start typing. But it'll still display up here what the current operation is that they're going to do. calculation. So I still need to store the current number though. Private decimal current value. Value equals num output. Okay, so we have the current value. Great Taco Bell commercial. I'm gonna get another one of those promosum messages on my YouTube video. Those are the only one. Well, no, I guess I've had two videos where people have thanked me for them, which is really nice. That's really cool. I'm glad I could help out at least one person. Anyway, I think this did what I wanted to do. And then I guess I may as well reset this. And actually, you know what? We're going to write a function called regular clear because most calculators have a calculators. I'm trying to say calculators more often. Most calculators have a regular clear that just clears the thing that you're currently inputting, and then a clear all, which clears even the memory and all that stuff. Okay, so anyway. And we are also going to clear formula output and current value. And we're going to, yeah, and that's it for now. So there you go. Is it helpful? Like most of the time, I'm just talking with you guys and not really doing anything. And I think that I'm explaining stuff as I'm doing it, but most of the time it's kind of just all over the place. At least I feel like it is. But if it is helpful, then I'm glad. Oh, come on. Oh, I didn't actually look it up. Um, Actually, I'm going to do handle operator clicked. This way we can have as many operators as we want. And we will use an enum. Make it private for now. Make it private for now. Private enum operators. And we'll have a add, subtract, multiply, and divide. For now, we're just going to do divide. We can do stuff like exponent, x to the y, square. So I guess x to the y is exponent, but anyway, square and square root and x root. And what's the other popular one that's on calculators? Mod, I guess mod. Operators up. And actually, because this is not flags, it's just going to be operator. So I looked up, I guess, and landed on the thing. I landed on enums. The naming of enums will be singular if it is not flags, otherwise it's plural. So flags is a way for you to be able to select more than one enum, and you usually do that by assigning, or is it something more like this? Binary numbers to all of the values. It is X. Anyway, I don't remember what the syntax is, but You essentially make them powers of two so that you can combine any of them and then you get a number that is not a power of two. And that way you can have multiple enums in one variable. That's not like a list of enum. That's when it would be pro. So the other thing that I like to have is a display that I like to have. I said I have a uh, an extension on enums that if it has a display attribute on any of the members, then it knows how to get that display attribute back. So that when we are here, we can do our operator dot get display text. So that'll give us back whatever we have in the name property of our display attribute. Okay, so now let's hook this up to at least one of our buttons. Where did I put the calculator.razor? When did I close it? Oh, when I compared the changes, compare the differences. So let's put add subtract mult div. And each of you will be at on click equals a method that says oh, do I have it in my clipboard? Handle operator clicked. Operator dot. And then we got add, subtract, multiply, and divage. Oh, how did I end up doing that? I'm good at clicking. I got accuracy. And then instead of using the actual symbol up here, although I probably want to use an icon for each of those because the regular ASCII, oh, dang it. I need to do it this way. I just don't like how they look in HTML. But then again, I could just give it a different font. So at operator.add dot get display text. Okay. And so those should be all of my buttons showing up right here as soon as I rebuild. We should have just enough time to get at least one of these to work the way that we want. 859 plus. Oh, come on. F12. So when I click plus, we were supposed to store the current value. Oh, and then handle clear. Duh. Okay, so then that'll reset this to 0, and I'm not actually outputting underscore formula text anywhere. So that should be, ooh. Can I put it in the header? Span class formula output. Okay. It did not like that. It totally killed my styles when I did that. Refresh. Calculate. Oh, ooh, in, eh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Wait, Now it's acting like it can't render. Okay, templated modal. Does it even have a modal header? It does not. Yes, it does. It has a modal header. Excuse me, why aren't you rendering HTML? Excuse me, my sin. Oh, yeah, that was just weird. That's all it was. It was just being weird. F12, please. Okay, so 5 to plus. Look at how massive that is. But at least it worked. Okay. The thing that is going to be weird is when we do the next number and then we hit plus because it's just going to override. So what we need to do is find out if the current value, actually we'll just add it to current value or do the operation on current value. Actually, we can't do that. We have to do the previous operation. So let's keep track of the current value and the previous operation. Which we will set to default to add. So we will do underscore current value equals previous operator, which we will need to reset to plus on clear all, by the way. Dragon Spirit Games is here. Hello, Dragon Spirit Games. I was hanging out on your stream on Monday. Or was it yesterday? Or was it both? It's probably both days. But we rated you. I remember that. So we're going to switch based on the operator, what it's going to do. We're going to add all of our cases. We don't need a default case because it's going to want us to have a default case. So whatever. We'll do current value plus. Yeah, this should never happen. Thank you. Well, you definitely deserve to have more viewers. I'm glad you got a better laptop too. That's really exciting. Really, really exciting. Defaults to add. We'll do this. And then subtract will be same. So same. So same. Okay. Yeah. In which case we don't actually do this. Okay, I think I just accidentally wrote the logic for how to update our display. We're only keeping the most recent total value and then the next operator. Oh, we need to set the previous operator too. And then prevop equals op, right? But this one is submit. We need one for submit. And then if submit, then we default back to add. Oh, that's going to be hard. Okay. I need to think about that one a little bit more. And Mila Mori Games is here too. Good day coding to you. And Mojo frowned. Why are you frowning, Mojo? Dragon Spirit says, yeah, and hopeful to get some better gear soon, but that remains to be seen. And like I told you, if you ever need, like, so the story that Dragon Spirit Games said on stream was that he needed an asset. So he went to Fiverr and he asked for a scene, a pixel art scene of cityscape Amsterdam kind of thing on a pier. So anyway, he asked for this and he got back what seems like, to his knowledge or just to his eye, an AI generated image that was just an image. It wasn't actually pixel art. So there wasn't anything he could really do with it. So he's kind of tracing over it and then creating his own take on it. It is his anyway, by the way, so he can do whatever he wants with it. But I was thinking that he's like he paid to use himself uh, AI generator, and I was like, if you ever need something, just send me what you're looking for, and I'll use Stable Diffusion. I have a local install, but I would recommend also installing your own local copy if you have the space and the process and the video card for it now. It's not that hard to set up. There are tons of different models that you can use and generate your own images as inspiration, as we talked about on your stream. But yeah, definitely check out both of them. Check out Dragon Spirit Games and Xcoding, all three of them. Dragon Spirit. We'll start with Dragon Spirit Games. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of you because of how long this thing takes. But here is a shout out for. So if you're not following Dragon Spirit Games, he's working on a game about his daughter Gaia, who goes on an adventure with the goddess Gaia to save the world, essentially, to get rid of all of this corrupted mess that's going on. He's doing it with accessibility in mind as well. So people with various handicaps can also enjoy his game, which is so cool. And then there's Mila, who is learning .NET and learning through doing Unity. She's doing amazing. She streams. She's fun to hang out with. So definitely give her some support as well. And then there's Xcoding, who works on a million different really cool projects. Um, Last one that I saw you working on was the editor. I don't know what you're currently working on. Learning.net instant follow from Mila. Yes. Yeah. These are all fantastic people. Great personalities. So cool to hang out with. I'm going to get rid of this error really quick, which should be done now, but we need to write a to do on submit. Um, we will only do the operation, but not. Oh man, that means that this thing needs to be null. Yeah, we need to do some logic as far as, do we already have a value? Are we just typing a new number without pushing one of the operator keys? So you start typing again, like in regular calculator, you do some math. If you couldn't tell, I was converting hex to decimal. You do some math, you submit, and so that gives us the, oh, we can do an equal sign. I like that. You do the submit, and then you get the value, but then you start typing again, and it clears out what you had before as soon as you push that first key. So that's why I think maybe we need this thing to be nullable. And we just do string.empty. There we go. Okay. Then if the user does not click on any other operators. Okay, so if previous operator was submit, then we'll do some special logic. That I don't know what it is yet because I can't think about it because I'm thinking about ending the stream. So we'll do some special logic there if the previous one was submit, which I think is just we are doing nothing. I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about it. Okay, okay. Dang it, stop. I need to stop right now. If any of the other buttons are pressed and the previous operator is submit, then that's when we're going to do clear out the current value, set the previous operator to null. And that way our next operation will be prompted. Okay. Then if the user does not click on any other operators, the next button pressed that is not an operator will clear the current value and the other thing. Clear the current value and set underscore prev op to null. Okay, I got it. I brained it. Finally. Okay, so you guys are chatting away, but this is where we're going to end for today. It's still telling me that I have some errors, which is a lie. It's that I need to rebuild. Okay. But that's going to be it for today. On Friday, as every Friday, the cake is a lie. As every Friday is, we will have Community Day where I will invite all of you to hop into a voice channel in Discord, or any of you, I guess. The invite is for all of you, but not all of you have to do anything about it. On Fridays, I typically focus more on answering questions, talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. Yeah, everyone join all at once. It'll be way too hectic. But we discuss whatever topics you guys have that you want to talk about, and just have fun in general. I love having fun. But yes, I thank you, Dukasoff. You are the best. Still, I will be posting this video to YouTube no sooner than 24 hours after I push the stop button on the stream. And what else do I normally say now? Feel free to join us on Discord. I'll be back again Friday, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, Mountain Time, whatever we're in. You do need a Dukasoft. He is the best non-bot bot ever. Dukabot? Is that? I always forget. Yes, we're definitely raiding over to Thindle as promised. Thindle. So if you guys love .NET development, you will love Thindle, who is currently working on a new feature, at least if he is working on the thing he said he's going to be working on. And somehow I pushed back. Oh no. And now I'm watching a commercial. So hopefully the commercial is done by the time the timer counts down. He's working on a new feature for a .NET Framework to .NET Core application conversion project, the web shop thing. So yeah, that's what we're going to go see. He is also the creator of Nodox, which is the thing that you may have seen on my screen. I don't know if I open any JSON or XML files, but it obscures all of the values for your entries if you happen to be someone that's presenting and you want to hide your key, your secrets. It's a fantastic tool that I love using. Helps you not dox yourself. So, anyway, with that, I will sign off. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you the next time you are around, and I hope you enjoy everything from now until the end of time. Ciao for now.